Hello and welcome to our webinar on Is Your Binge Eating Out of Control? It's so great to have you here with us, and I'm excited to talk to you about something that we at the Impulsivity Online Project feel so passionate about. We are passionate about providing evidence based strategies to support you to help you achieve your goals. If you find that you tend to drink more frequently than you like, or that when you do drink, you end up drinking more than you intended, and it started to cause problems in your life, then this webinar is for you. Perhaps you find that you lose control when you drink, behaving in ways that are out of character for you, or acting in ways that damage your relationships, or even cause you to feel guilty or ashamed afterwards. If you find that when you stop drinking, you experience withdrawal symptoms like headaches, heart palpitations, nausea, shaking or tremors, disorientation, or hallucinations, seek immediate medical attention. These symptoms are signs of a more serious form of alcohol use disorder that requires medical monitoring and can be fatal. Signs of alcohol dependence include two or more of the following symptoms: repeated instances of drinking more frequently or consuming more alcohol than you intended, unsuccessful efforts to moderate or to stop drinking, spending a lot of time drinking or recovering from the effects of drinking, strong urges or cravings to drink, repeated instances of drinking or recovering from drinking that interfered with your ability to function and meet expectations at home, work, or another area of your life. Continued drinking despite experiencing negative consequences or problems. If you do recognize these symptoms, make sure that you can look for professional help. As well, if you think that you might be struggling with other issues, chronic or acute stress, depression, or any other mental health issue, please seek help. Don't prolong your suffering. So let's get into it and take a look at impulsivity and the role it plays in the development of binge drinking. An impulse is defined as a sudden and strong urge to act, and impulsivity is acting on this urge. Everyone experiences impulses, several each day. Some are helpful, like an impulse to duck when something is thrown in our direction, and an impulse to call a friend we haven't spoken to in a while, or an impulse to hold the door for someone who is carrying a heavy item. Other impulses are not helpful. We know the difference because acting on them leads to consequences. These consequences can be to our health, our mental health, our finances, work, relationships, or any other part of our lives. Often, these impulses are related to the pain pleasure principle. For many, the diagram on the screen represents the cycle of impulsivity. We experience a strong urge or impulse. We act on this urge. We then feel guilty and experience negative consequences as a result. Then we make promises to change our behavior or justify and excuse our behavior, but ultimately experience some sort of stress and repeat the cycle again. So here's the cycle in action. For those who struggle with binge drinking, the cycle might go something like this. We are confronted with a trigger to drink excessively, like being out with friends celebrating someone's birthday, and then experience an urge to drink heavily and keep drinking over the course of, of an evening. If we keep drinking heavily, the immediate reward might be that we forget about our stress, let loose, and have a fun and enjoyable time with our friends. But we might also act in ways that are embarrassing to us later on, like falling down, getting out of hand, or needing to be helped back to our homes. These are some of the consequences that might only really sink in the next morning when we wake up hungover and start trying to piece together the events of the night before, regretting our decisions, and even feeling guilty, embarrassed, or ashamed. In this stage, it is common to make promises to ourselves or to our friends that we won't drink as much next time, or perhaps even that we will take a break from alcohol altogether. And while we mean these promises and have every intention of keeping them in the moment, we often find that we repeat some version of this cycle again in the future. So here's a quick reflection exercise. Think about your own drinking patterns and grab a piece of paper or open up a Word document and list each of the elements below. Trigger or stressor. What trigger or stressor often leads to you wanting to drink? Urge. What do your urges sound like in your head and what do they feel like in your body? Impulsivity. When you act on these urges, what choices do you make? Rewards. What is the immediate or short term reward of this choice? Guilt or consequences. How do you feel about the choice later? What consequences do you commonly experience? Promises. What types of promises do you tend to make to yourself or others? Here is why it's difficult to manage impulsivity. It's been suggested that there's no single personality trait that underlies the disposition for an impulsive action. It has been proposed that 5 dispositions underlay this trait. These are positive urgency, negative urgency, sensation seeking, lack of planning, and lack of perseverance. Positive urgency and negative urgency experienced by individuals are based on emotions. Positive urgency is the tendency to act rashly when experiencing positive mood, and negative urgency is the tendency to act rashly when experiencing negative mood. Individuals high in urgency might experience difficulty resisting temptations and cravings. Sensation seeking refers to our tendency to seek out novel or thrilling stimulation. Lack of perseverance is about our difficulties tolerating difficulties. Staying focused when encountering distractions. Lack of planning is the tendency to act without thinking. Act without thinking about the consequences of our actions. Are you more likely to impulsively drink when you experience positive or negative emotions? Well, do you ever feel like you don't want a party to stop or to miss out on the fun? Are you ever the last man or woman standing when everyone else has gone home and you're still at the bar? In this case, you are more likely to be influenced by positive urgency. If you are more likely to drink when you feel depressed, angry, ashamed, or embarrassed, then it might be due to negative urgency. So, the tendency to seek out novel and exciting stimuli. Who do we think about when we consider sensation seeking? We think about risk takers. We think about people who are adrenaline junkies. The presence of certain kind of dopamine receptor is also associated with sensation-seeking people, more commonly known as risk takers. If we see something as a reward, we want to move closer towards getting it. If you feel rewarded by a slice of cake, or a glass of wine, or a new purchase, you will make a move towards getting it. So, one way to try and reward yourself would be to want something other than food, drink, or shopping. For example, wanting to be healthy, fit, live longer, or be strong. So, here's a tip: never reward yourself with alcohol. Don't stay sober for a month only to binge drink at the end of October. So, find new and exciting ways to have fun and to reward yourself. Lack of planning. Now, this is important. You just tend to act or react instead of thinking about the consequences of your action. Research suggests that you need to keep the consequences of your action in mind before you have another sip. Yes, you need to think about that potential fight with your partner. Think about how you'll feel the next morning. Your productivity will drop at work. You might struggle to achieve your goals. You might be too tired to go to the gym. You might have an upset stomach. Keep those consequences in mind when deciding how much to drink. You know the feeling when you need to do something really important, but suddenly all you can think about is binge watching the next Game of Thrones season, or suddenly instead of doing your assignment. So sometimes we need to avoid these impulses. We get distracted, we might forget. It might seem too hard, and we might give up our pursuit to regulate our drinking altogether. Maybe you justify it by saying, it's okay, it's not a big deal. We can get it under control next time. You just have a couple to relax. Well, you need to find a way to check out your stress management, finding ways to enjoy yourself without getting too drunk. Maybe it'll even require you to make major changes like ending a toxic relationship or changing jobs. Maybe in the past, an annoying partner or stressful job were a good excuse for you to keep on drinking. Just before we go any further, a couple of words in defense of impulsivity, because impulsivity can be good. When you spontaneously decide to help a friend out, it is a good impulse. As well, positive impulsivity is associated with greater enthusiasm, greater adventurousness, rapid decision making, idea generation, extroversion. But dysfunctional impulsivity needs to be addressed as it is often associated with rapid but inaccurate response, being disorderly, ignoring facts when making decisions, ease of distraction, suicidal thoughts. So be careful of not feeling dysfunctional impulsivity, but learn to differentiate between the two. Let's say you can still have fun, but learn to create a rule that you can follow. Take responsibility for your drinking. Don't make other people create the rules for you, and sooner or later you will resent them and it might damage your relationship with your friends. So, here are a couple of tips to help you to start to be in control of your behaviors. For example, you need to address some of your self defeating behaviors. What is your self defeating behavior or thinking style? Maybe you worry too much. Maybe you're unable to manage your anxiety. You can't have fun without drinking. You procrastinate. You can't tolerate frustration. You don't have a good plan to manage your stress. Every time you have fun, you desperately try to hold on to it because stress is too much to handle. 2. Your plan can often fail when you tell yourself, I simply won't drink. You need to reality test your plan. Don't just rely on remembering not to get drunk. This isn't a plan. I will try to reduce my drinking. It's better to be specific, as in, I will try not to have more than 2 drinks. I will do my best to not drink as much. What does that mean? When I drink, instead of 16 beers, I'll have 14 beers. It's not really helping the problem. That's still a lot. It might be a reduction, but it needs to be bigger than that. I will control my anger when I drink. Well, if you're intoxicated, it's really hard to control anything. I will sleep it off when I'm drunk. Once again, this isn't solving this isn't solving the problem. It's just mediating a little bit temporarily. Your plan can often fail when you tell yourself, I simply won't drink. You need to be realistic with it. I will not drink at all, or I will only drink 1 drink per hour. I will eat before and have a glass of water in between each drink. I will stay at the bar for only 2 hours. I will book a cab or an Uber before I go to the bar. I will ask my friends to support me. I will practice saying no. When I no longer feel in control, I have to leave immediately. You need to help yourself succeed. Make sure that everything is prepared. For example, if you were to help yourself to develop a habit to exercise every day, you can help yourself by making sure that you have all your gear ready before you go to bed. Put your sneakers next to the door, have clean socks, a water bottle, and a towel ready. Basically, help yourself to succeed. Similarly, With binge drinking, help yourself to succeed. Start preparing in advance. Talk to your friends before you go out, not at a party. Set up an Uber account before you go out. Think, what else do you need to help yourself to succeed? Cognitive behavioral therapy is considered to be an effective in a number of conditions. It can teach you to rethink some of your unhelpful thinking patterns, create better habits, identify unhelpful thinking patterns that sabotage your progress, and teach you how to replace it with a better, more helpful suggestion. Sometimes we justify binge eating, and other times we beat ourselves up. Both strategies are not helpful, and we can show you a better approach on how to deal with it. Treatment studies based on CBT interventions, including covert sensitization, imaginal desensitization, and aversion therapy, cognitive restructuring, relaxation training, and relapse prevention, were found to be effective in treatment of individuals diagnosed with kleptomania, compulsive buying, or pathological gambling. Reduction was shown in mind reading, shoulds, confusing needs and wants, all or nothing thinking, discounting positives, personalizing, regret orientation, short term thinking, and blaming. Mindfulness is a great practice to help you to understand your emotions, feelings, and sensations without having to react to them. Not only we will teach you on how to practice mindfulness, we will provide you with a library of exercises which you can access anytime. And with our course, here are some of the worksheets that you can download and use to enhance your learning. We have a library of mindfulness exercises, including urge surfing, which has been used by many health professionals in helping clients to navigate their urges and triggers. So, in summary, our course has more than 25 lessons, 22 worksheets, a library of mindfulness exercises, easy access from anywhere, including your phone, and you have our support if you need any information. If you'd like to contact us with any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us at hello@impulsivity.com.au and we'll be more than happy to respond. In the meantime, you can check out our website. Thank you for listening, and please let us know if you have any questions at all. See you soon.